Welcome to the Dance to Heal podcast. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Join me as I share stories of how life is a dance. I'm a cancer survivor, mother of two, and an award-winning performer who found that mind and body-connected movement is vital to healing in a way that is safe and tailored to your life. I created Dance to Heal Wellness featuring the Spotlight Confidence Formula and also authored the best-selling award-winning book, Outside In Recovery, Dancing My Way Back to Myself After Breast Cancer. I will bring new ways to help you on your dance journey and healing path. Are you ready to move? Dance to Heal starts now. Hello, welcome to the Dance to Heal podcast. I'm your host, Jenny C. Cohen. Today we talk about muscle testing, or the study of kinesiology, which means acknowledgement that the body is speaking to you, and there's a way to get simple yes-no answers when you ask them and start to trust the way your body's answering you. Now, common practice has been around the use of muscle testing for food allergies. For example, when I was first introduced to it through energy medicine, it was if you were questioning whether or not you were allergic to a certain food, you would take that food, and I'm going to lower my camera for my YouTube family. You would hold the object to your chest, close your eyes, and ask, is this for my highest and best good? And then you would feel a lean towards the food if it was something healthy for you, or you would feel a lean away from you that it wasn't something that was best for your health. That has morphed into a muscle testing where you would test for a yes by closing your eyes and saying the word yes, and you might feel a tendency to lean forward, versus if you closed your eyes and said no, and you might feel a fall backwards that would indicate no. So those are simple yes-no questions. For example, is my name Jenny C. Cohen? And my body might lean forward, yes. Or is my name Beyonce? And my body would say no. I would lean away from it. I'll even turn sideways to show you. Let me turn this way. My color eyes are brown, and my body leans forward because my eyes are brown. But let's say I'm going to put your hands down here, and I will say, my color eyes are green. And my body will, and my body said, no, your color. I fell backwards pretty quickly. That would be an indication that my body disagrees with the statement, my color eyes are green. You can stop the video of this recording if you're listening to the audio portion and try this test for yourself by standing up, putting your feet together, engaging your core lightly, eyes closed, hands drop down, and ask your name. And you might state your name. My name is blank, whatever you fill in your name, and then see which way your body leans. Traditionally, the forward lean is yes. And then if you were to say, my name is Penelope Cruz, for example, unless you're Penelope Cruz. If you're not Penelope Cruz, with your eyes closed, hands by your side, core engaged, feet together, and you ask yourself, and you state, my name is Penelope Cruz, most of us will fall backwards for a no. And you can try the same particular physical test in standing by saying, my color eyes are, and you say your color eyes. And then you would say some other color your eyes were not. My color eyes are whatever your eye color is not, and hopefully you will have a response of going backwards away backwards indicating no. Okay? Now here's the thing. I rarely use the standing forward and back sway because most of the time when I'm doing a muscle test, I'm asking either I'm in a public setting, which would be inconvenient to stop a conversation or stop a lecture and see them go, is what they're saying true for me or not true for me? So what I normally usually do is I will do different finger uses, yeah? There's another methodology where you use the deltoid muscle here, and your arm is out to the side, not completely, it's slightly in front, like at a diagonal. It's not completely out to the side. And there is a gentle push on the arm. And if it's a yes, the arm is strong. And if it's a no, there's always a slight, light drop in the arm before the muscle catches. Does that make sense? So that is a deltoid kinesiology test. So if I was testing on a client or another practitioner was testing on a client using the deltoid muscle, I would be testing the deltoid muscle on my client. Okay. Now there is a methodology or a way of healing I do where I would also muscle test it in person on my client. But if I were online with my client, I would muscle test on my own arm representing that person. Just understand that usually when someone's muscle testing for you, I would always, before I muscle tested on my clients, I would ask the universal permission after I asked for the client's permission to muscle test for them. Why is that really important? Because I'm acknowledging that I am human and I do not know whether or not the person I'm working with has access to all the information needed for work at that time. And so I'm asking the wider universe to give me permission to muscle test for them. This is really important. It has to do more with ethics and being trauma informed, because sometimes a person, or I may think a person's ready to move on to the next level of their life and address something that's holding them back. And a higher power than us may be acknowledging they're not ready for it yet. Okay, so there's always a background check to make sure this person is ready for the work. Okay, so we've covered the body lean, we've covered the deltoid. There's two other finger muscle testings that I like to teach my clients, and I'm going to teach those to you now. Okay, so there's a third muscle test where I will use my pointer finger, and I'm going to bring the angle down again. When I'm muscle testing for myself, I will use the pointer finger, which means I'm making a light fist with my hands and the pointer finger is pushing straight out. I normally will have it at an angle closer to the bottom part of my chest below my sternum, just about my abdominal or the upper ab section. And I'm holding it here because the angle of my arm is that my shoulder is higher than my elbow, which is higher than my wrist. And then I'm lifting this up for my YouTube people. The wrist, big knuckle, and fingers are in one line, okay? And the elbow, which is usually higher than my wrist, would be higher and would be my shoulder. So this is the angle I'm usually holding it at, but for demonstration purposes, I'm holding a little higher. The joint we're paying attention to is this big knuckle, which is called the metacarpal knuckle. Okay, so it's the top of your palm, this part. But we're making sure your palm is turned towards you and your fist, the closed fingers, are directed towards your chest. All right, now you're making a very straight line with the finger. So I am contracting my hand muscles to keep this finger very, very straight. And you're going to push on that middle knuckle, your middle knuckle, yep. And it should feel pretty firm, like it's pretty strong. For helpful use purposes, we're normally going with your non-dominant hand to muscle test. Okay, your non-dominant hand. So this is my left hand. For you, you will see it as my right hand because we're mirror images, okay? So if I were going to mirror image you and your dominant hand was your right, it would be your left non-dominant hand that would come out. Okay, so non-dominant hand, and you gently press on that middle knuckle. And so we're going to go back to the muscle testing questions we asked. My name is Jenny C. Cohen. I'm going to really hold that finger nice and strong, and I'm going to gently push on that middle knuckle. It should feel very strong. Say your name. My name is, and say your name, and then gently push on the finger for like 3 counts. 1, 2, 3. Should feel pretty strong, and then you release. My name is Penelope Cruz. Now I'm going to use the same strength on this finger, and I'm going to push down the same strength, and it's going to feel like I can push it down. Like it just a slight give. So I don't even have to contract it for push down for 3 seconds. It already goes down. Some people go, well, it just feels like I'm letting it go. Yes, if it feels like you can't hold it all of a sudden versus before it was stronger, that's a pretty strong yes and no for you. I hope you understand that. Let me repeat. Some people will second guess a very strong no, meaning they'll feel like, oh, I'm just letting it go down. I ask you, are you letting it go down or you're unable to hold the finger up when you're asking when you're saying a statement that is not true for you, okay? Let's try your eye color. My color eyes are brown. I feel strong. It feels effort to push against This finger feels effort. The finger that is nice and straight feels pressure staying straight against this other finger, the other hand pushing down on the finger in the middle knuckle. Okay? My color eyes are purple. Hold it strong, and I can push it down almost immediately. Because I feel like even if I try and hold it strong, I can still push against myself and bring the finger down. Yes? Feel that? Good. So you can also, let's start using some questions specifically. This is an art. There's no exact science to asking questions, because over time you will learn. You will learn how to ask questions to yourself that are simple, yes, no. And then you will also learn when you need to ask clarifying questions. For example, let's say I want to know, should I go on this trip? I'm thinking about this particular trip next year. I kind of really want to. I'm feeling FOMO. I'm feeling fear of missing out for this one particular trip with this one particular teacher I really, really like. But the other person I'm not sure about. So I will ask my body, should I go on this trip? And I'm pushing my finger, and the answer is no. Do I need to understand why I don't want to go? I should not go on the trip. No. Could I have another event with this particular teacher earlier this year. Is that a good one to go to? Yes. All right. You see what I'm saying? Now, I actually had someone that I was guesting on their podcast, and we went through establishing her yes or no strength with her fingers, and she had her pet was very old and ill. And once we established her yes or no, we had her ask, is her cat in pain? And the answer was yes. And then we asked a clarifying question, like, is it time for her cat to go? Like, not to keep them alive. And the answer was yes, right? Now, if I were to want to ask more clarifying questions, it would be, do I need, should we keep the cat with, like, should she keep the cat longer than 2 weeks? Does that make sense? Now, I don't have permission to muscle test, so I'm not doing it, but these are some qualification questions I would have asked her if she was my client, right? We were just talking as friends at that moment. If she were my client, it would be questions like, does she want to stay? Would she want to go now or next week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks? We would clarify exactly when the window of what she was getting for how long to keep the cat around without it having unduly suffered. Does that make sense? Okay, good. Last, muscle testing. This is the method I use when I'm testing for my clients, when I'm working with them. And this is what I also will double check if I'm working with, let's say, you who's watching or listening. If you were my client and I was physically working with you in real life, whatever I would muscle test on your deltoid and what we were doing in the process, I also double check through this fourth method of muscle testing, so that I triple check all the time, okay? So the fourth way would be if you press your pointer and thumb pads together, making an OK sign. Your 3 fingers are up and relaxed, and the index finger, the pointer finger, and the thumb are meeting together in the pads of the fingers. If you have long nails, it would be more of a pinching the pads together, because your nails would be in the way. Okay, so the fingers are here. Then, and your palm is facing outward. Then your free hand, you would stick your pointer finger up. You would turn the palm towards you. Hook your finger, and then loop it through the ring you made with the other hand, the first hand. Then you would take the ring and put it against where the fingers of the OK sign are meeting. It's like you're trying to pull your finger through the ring. So the free hand. So let's say I'm cueing you let's pretend you're left-handed. So your right hand is non-dominant. Okay. So your right hand is pinched. Right pointer, right thumb are pinched together in a ring by the pads of the fingers. Left hand is turned palm towards you. Left finger is a hook. Take your left finger hook. Put it into the circle, and then pull your right finger hook through the ring that's being made where the fingers are pinched. Pull it through where the pointer finger, and the thumb are meeting. And it should feel either really hard to pull through, or it should feel like you're just going to test, like, you're going to let it release and go through, and then you're going to pinch your finger really hard and squeeze it and not allow the finger to go through. Relax. Let's establish your yes or no. My name is Jenny C. Cohen. Now, here's the thing. I'm holding my fingers up very high. Normally, again, I would have it around my sternum area and I would pull. My name is Jenny C. Cohen. My body agrees, reflected through my fingers. My fingers are pinched together very strong when I'm muscle testing. My name is Jenny C. Cohen. My hand agrees. Sometimes you might want to relax the fingers, okay? My fingers agree. My name is Penelope Cruz. I'm going to pinch them just as equally hard, and I'm going to pull, and it goes through pretty quickly. It's so funny. It feels like a magic trick, but it's not, okay? And my color eyes are brown. Finger pulls through, does not pull through. My color eyes are green. I'm going to try and squeeze it, and my fingers can pull through. It's like my body acknowledges that is not my truth, okay? If I was muscle testing for my client, I would say, client's name, here's the question, and then I would double check to see if it's a yes or no, or I'd be testing for them. I believe this type of muscle testing is something that is a birthright that everyone should know and understand how to do. It is free. I gift this to everyone because if I were to ask you to pay, I feel that I would be gatekeeping it. Because what if you couldn't afford to pay for the amount that I was charging for it? I want this to be free. I want you to share this video to as many people as you need to. They're welcome to ask questions underneath. And why is it important? Why do I feel so strongly about this? There's now more and more research coming out that there is an efficacy to this. There is science backing the efficacy of this, the actual effectiveness of this. There's been studies that are now coming out where they'll muscle test using a physical therapy test for someone whose sacroiliac joint is out of alignment. There's a physical test that they can do that's outside of an MRI or an ultrasound. And then they would also do the muscle test on the person's deltoid muscle. Does this person have a SI alignment issue? And 70% of those tests were correct. They were accurate for someone who actually had it or did not have it. And then because they also tested it against the physical test that the physical therapists do for the SI joint. All right? More science is backing it up. I want this accessible to you. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to the Dance to Heal podcast with Jenny C. Cohen. Come back next time to hear stories of inspiring triumph and learn more ways that you can heal yourself. To work with me and continue your journey, visit danceandheal.com. Are you ready to move?